On Overdrive today, to brighten up your festivities, we bring you legends of the wild. The Mercedes G-Wagon and the Suzuki Jimny on the same turf. We also bring you the updated BMW X5 and the all-new TVSX.
Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Soini. Let me start by wishing you all a very happy Diwali. The biggest news from this week is British sports car maker Lotus has made an entry into the Indian market with an electric SUV, the Electra. Prices start at 2.55 crore rupees ex-showroom pan-India, and the sports car is available in 3 variants with 2 power options. The Electra and Electra S feature a 603 horsepower dual motor system offering maximum range of 600 kilometers. The Electra R produces 905 horsepower offering a maximum range of 490 kilometers. All 3 variants get a standard 112 kilowatt-hour battery that can charge to 80% in just 20 minutes. The sports cars will be retailed by Delhi-based Exclusive Motors across India, while the first showroom will open early next year. Coming to our first story this week, in a world of off-road adventure where mud meets metal, legends are born. And among the various automotive icons, we have the Mercedes-Benz G-Class and the Maruti Suzuki Jimny. We brought them under a common turf. Here's that story.
This is the Suzuki Jimny, a pocket-sized dynamite known for its off-road wizardry. A few weeks back, when I reviewed this vehicle, I called it the cute emoticon of the G-Wagon. So today, we have the G-Mini meeting the G-Mega, the ultimate symbol of opulence and untamed exploration. Let's go check it out. Both exhibited insatiable hunger for the uncharted territories, but they carved distinct paths in their pursuit of mastering the art of adventure. The G-Wagon's legacy has often propelled it to unprecedented heights, even on the pricing spectrum, solidifying its status as a perennial bestseller. The Jimny, on the other hand, aspires to democratize adventure, making it accessible to the masses. Many enthusiasts go as far as outfitting the Jimny to resemble a G-Wagon, but when they stand side by side, they evoke the timeless tale of David and Goliath. The G stands tall as a paragon of luxury and strength, its design exuding timeless elegance and brute force. In its 400D avatar, it packs the most powerful diesel engine yet on a Mercedes-Benz, a 2.9-litre inline-6 turbocharged diesel engine, churning out 330 horsepower and a staggering 700 Newton-meters of torque. Meanwhile, the Jimny gracefully embraces simplicity and compactness, creating a stark contrast. It's motivated by a rather humble 1.5-litre 4-cylinder petrol engine, but it is quite a spirited motor. These are 2 different worlds, meticulously crafted to conquer even the most enigmatic of terrains. Stepping inside the G-Wagon, you'll find yourself embraced by lavish leather and state-of-the-art technology. It's a symphony of luxury and functionality. The G-Wagon takes a relatively more simple approach then. But speaking of it, the Jimny champions simplicity and functionality. Versatility is an attribute both possess in spades. But off-road driving is where these two stand out from the other 4-wheeled crowd. The G-Class demonstrates its dominance with its superior hardware, adaptive suspension, the robust ladder frame that I spoke of. You even get a desert mode. Of course, the terrain systems aren't as detailed as some of its rivals, but then even the desert mode for slippery stuff like this does most of the job very easily. Not having too many terrain systems is not a problem either. Basically, all this hardware ensures that it manages to go over all these obstacles with a lot of finesse. And when you want to take even more manual control over things, you even have 3 different differential locks. And when all of this off-road hardware comes together, it essentially does one thing, and that is making sure that irrespective of what kind of a driver you are, whether you are an off-road enthusiast or simply someone who wants to arrive at such terrain and go all over it without having to fiddle with all these tools and controls, the G-Wagon will ensure that it will keep both of you happy. The Jimny, relying on its compact frame, agile nature and a high-strength ladder frame, defies gravity and trots through the harshest terrains effortlessly. It gets a modest, non-adjustable multi-link suspension and a selectable 4x4 system with an old-school lever as well. It gets the work done. The substantial contrast in price between these two vehicles undoubtedly arises from the badges on the grills, the advanced technology beneath the hood, the opulence versus the minimalism, and the spaciousness compared to convenience. Furthermore, it also impresses with its high ground clearance, some impressive approach and departure angles. And then you also get this amazing roof rack on this particular vehicle, which gets you 100 kg payload. So you can also do your overlanding and some glamping. And then there is the adaptive suspension, which means that even with load on top, it will still maintain optimum ride height. It will still maintain the optimum ground clearance when you're going on such tricky terrain. Conversely, the Jimny relies on its generous ground clearance, boasting impressive approach and departure angles thanks to its minimal overhangs. Its compact dimensions endow it with mastery over tight spaces, whether navigating real or concrete jungles. The G-Wagon is full of laughs, no matter what variant you choose. And the Suzuki Jimny doesn't lag far behind. It is affectionately dubbed as the miniature Land Rover, but is way more reliable than any of the Europeans. The Suzuki Jimny, on the other hand, was designed to make off-roading a very easy and affordable and accessible exercise for a lot of enthusiasts out there, and it delivers on that promise really well. As the dust settles and the engines fall silent, the G-Wagon and the Jimny show how both of them take different paths but have one common goal: take their respective owners to new horizons. This isn't a comparison. This is a celebration of two legends. In the realm of off-roading, these two are icons. These are two legacies that are always ready for timeless adventures.
Hope you enjoyed that offbeat feature. We'll be back shortly to tell you all about the updated BMW X5. Welcome back, you're watching Overdrive. BMW has given the X5 a host of mechanical updates which makes the car better to drive, but it also looks nicer than the previous generation model. Here's Tuhin with more.
The X5 is what first comes to mind when you think of a BMW SUV. It set the template that's been followed by all the other SUVs from this brand that have followed since. But when this generation came out a few years ago, we were left wondering that maybe the focus had skewed a bit more towards luxury rather than driver involvement. But there's been a fairly extensive midlife update to this model now, so let's see what the X5 stands for now. The X5 now looks leaner and sharper, largely down to the slimmer headlamps with their crisp blue detailing. The large grille is still quite traditional by current BMW standards, but the backlighting at night has you more than covered for presence. On the sides, more gloss black has seemingly condensed this SUV's quite large mass, but these new 21-inch M Sport wheels with their blue calipers are some of the more exciting looking ones we've seen on an SUV lately. The quite simple bodywork otherwise doesn't seem too far out of sync with the new face. The tail lamps too have been condensed to recreate the new L-shaped 3D signature found in newer BMW models like the X1, while the bumper too has been made less fussy. Thankfully, a pair of fat exposed exhaust tips amp up the sense of performance with this version. The X5's staple split boot lid remains intact though, with the added benefits to practicality that brings. Now the big change with this update on the inside of the X5 is that you now get this curved iDrive 8 display. It's got that 14.9-inch central touchscreen and this 12.3-inch driver's display. What has also changed, as you can see, is this new central panel. It's been taken from the 7 Series and the i7 with the very minimalistic vents over here. So you have this textured wood, the very soft leather and that impeccable sense of build quality. And you have this ambient light insert over here as well, which some might find a bit over the top, but to be honest, at night it gels with the light package pretty well. Now, among other changes, you have this new crystalline elements. Again, you've seen this in other BMW models, and that's come down here too with this new toggle type shifter. The iDrive 8 infotainment system has seen some updates to address functionality. You now have a more intuitive home screen and the touch climate controls have been simplified, addressing some of our earlier complaints with this system. Further, with the older rotary dial retained, this execution of the iDrive is probably the best BMW currently does. Now, if you want to buy the X5, of course, the back seat will be of great importance to you, and to be honest, you will not be disappointed here. To start with, there's quite a bit of space. This seat is set to my driving position, and as you can see, there's a reasonably good amount of knee room and leg room. You can sort of put your feet under the seat here in front, so that's not a problem. And the seat itself, it's quite flat, and this middle section doesn't have an extremely high hump, so 3 people here should fit comfortably, and even under thigh support is reasonably good. It could have been a bit more, we think, especially considering how comfortable the front seats are. That being said, the seat back itself is very nicely done. It's got a nice soft cushioning to it. It doesn't recline all that much, which is a slight drawback. But again, it's got a decent amount of contouring too, so you will not be uncomfortable. And of course, like in the front, there's great practicality too. You have a 12-volt power outlet, 2 Type-C ports here, a nice space to maybe put your phone here, and if you want to say plug in a device, there's another Type-C port here for each of the seats. Also helping lift the ambience is the vast list of features. You get soft closed doors, heated and cooled front seats, wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and a head-up display being the highlights. As for safety, you get some degree of ADAS features like a collision avoidance system, lane departure warning, and driver attention function. You also get a crisp set of 360-degree cameras and hill descent control. Start driving the BMW X5 and you're greeted with a very typically SUV driving position. So you sit quite high up, there's an expansive view, the pillars aren't too large, so you can see out of it very well. But what must be mentioned are these seats. They're very comfortable, but what really takes it up a notch, aside from the heating and cooling functions that the seat offers, is the level of adjustment. So you don't just get to adjust the extendable squabs for your thighs, you also get to adjust the side bolstering, and even the seat back itself tilts forward. But what really stands out as soon as you start driving the X5 is the level of refinement. It's genuinely exceptional. You have really no way of saying that this is a diesel, at least on the inside. The engine, if you notice right now, is nearly silent. There's no grumbling or any vibrations coming through the pedals or any through the footwell like how you might expect in even a very good diesel like this one. Then comes the equally impressive slug of performance from the reworked 3-litre inline-6 diesel in this xDrive 30D variant. The motor now makes 286 PS and 650 Nm, but more significantly, you now have 12 PS and 200 Nm of mild hybrid assistance. There's a new sprint mode which, gimmicky name aside, exploits this performance well. It puts the engine and gearbox in its most aggressive setting for a short burst that makes overtakes and other maneuvers easier still. With the more flexible powertrain, the X5 doesn't feel too restrained in Eco Pro or too snappy in Sport. And then tying this quite potent powertrain choice together is the ride and handling character of this new X5. And it must be said here again, BMW has done some really good job, especially with the way this car rides, considering it's got these massive 21-inch wheels, and the only sort of giveaway that it's running such big tires is, say, when you go over a deepish pothole or a ditch, that's when you notice a slightly hard thud, but over everything else it just glides over, just smooths over the bumps, even on our quite tricky roads very well. Priced at Rs 1.32 crore on road for this version, the new X5 is a pricey proposition, but there's something here for everyone. It's got the comfort and luxury bit covered, in ways better than some rivals with its long features list and well-appointed cabin. The drivetrain is about as polished as you'd want from a car, and to top that, it also retains that driving sparkle that you want from a BMW.
We've also driven the bigger SUV from BMW, the X7. That's a story for next week. We'll take a very quick break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, we'll tell you all about the TVSX electric scooter. Welcome back. here with us on Overdrive. Now recently TVS invited us to their test track in Hosur to test their second electric scooter, the TVSX, which aims to revolutionize the performance electric scooter space. Now we barely got 15 minutes with this scooter, but here's what Rohit had to say about it.
iQube is one of the most practical e-scooters in the Indian market, selling more than 2 lakh units already and helping TVS reach a market share of 23% in the Indian e-scooter space. Now TVS is upping the game with the X.
It's larger than the TVS iQube. It looks sportier with all these sharp body panels and of course that big frame that you see right here. It's got a huge battery pack. It's also got a huge infotainment screen. So performance, connectivity, looks, it promises everything. So is this the ideal scooter to buy if you are looking for an electric in the performance segment?
Getting to the core of the matter, the TVS X is equipped with a 4.4 kilowatt-hour battery pack, an evolution of the iQube's battery. But why does it still offer lesser range?
Well, because it's all about priorities. The TVS X prioritizes performance over outright range to go with its sporty intent. And that's the reason why the range takes a hit. The other reason is the weight. It's 124 kilos, which makes it one of the heaviest in its category.
With 3 ride modes for economical, normal and sporty riding, you can enjoy top speeds of up to 50, 70 and 105 kilometers an hour respectively. Even the stealth or the eco mode feels brisk, unlike some of its competitors, but struggles on inclines.
Charging is where the TVS X shines further because it also supports 3 kilowatt fast charging. That charger, however, is around 16,000 rupees, give or take, which I don't think is worth it. Unless, of course, you have 70-80 kilometers of commute a day, you're in an extra urban kind of a riding cycle, then it might just make sense for you. Otherwise, with a 95 kilometer range, your usual commutes are going to be taken care of just fine. So the regular, the standard 3-pin plug with its 4.5-hour charging time should be okay.
The TVS X has a sporty look with sharp body panels, stylish lighting and a unique twin-spar aluminum frame. Surprisingly, the TVS X appears larger than its dimensions suggest, with a convenient seat height of 770 millimeters.
That front seat height might sound low to you, but even for taller riders, taller than my height of 5 feet 8, ergonomics are not a problem at all. In fact, you can see he is over 6 feet tall. His knees are nowhere close to the apron or close to the handlebars. So ergonomics are completely sorted. In fact, the front seat is so long that it even gives you enough room to move around and get a comfortable seating posture. Even the rear seat, nice and wide, a little tall but not too tall. So even for your family, it's not going to be bad at all.
The TVS X features a split seat setup, but it isn't customizable like the Vida V1. However, it offers a superior build quality and a sportier design. Boasting 175mm of ground clearance, the TVS X should handle rough roads well, but with a slightly firmer ride. The side-mounted monoshock doesn't hamper handling. The X comes with specially developed low-resistance single-compound Eurogrip tires that offer decent grip and are the sole tire option available currently.
Tech-savvy riders or riders who believe why should car guys have all the fun with the infotainment systems, they're going to absolutely love this colossal 10.25-inch screen and can also tilt it to your likings. Now, the other bit with these kind of screens that I do not like with a lot of new electric vehicles is that the locking mechanism is usually tied into these screens, right? You can lock, unlock from the screen or using a cell phone or using your watch, etc., which the TVS allows you. Good functionality. But what happens if you have kept the scooter without charging for a really long time, which by the way for this scooter is around 100 days, but if it takes longer than that, say 6 months, for some reason you're unable to charge the scooter, and when you come back and try to unlock them, nothing works because the system simply doesn't work. There is no juice left, right? Which is why TVS is also going to be providing an NFC card, which will essentially allow you to at least open the charging socket so you can at least get the charging.
The X features an 11 kilowatt motor, one of the most powerful in its segment.
The TVSX reminds me of the Yamaha Aerox in many ways, like its motorcycle-like stability through the bends, or even this frame which allows you to have a much more aggressive body positioning compared to their regular scooters which don't get this. Of course, you will not be able to put a cylinder in here because of the frame, but that's not the intent. And where it really differentiates itself from the Aerox is the kind of power delivery that it gives you. With that electric motor, it's much smoother. The power delivery is much more linear. And electric motors are known for their instantaneous torque, right? But despite that, the power delivery is nice and smooth. You can exit the corner, you can get on the power a lot earlier and a lot harder and with a lot more confidence, and still the scooter doesn't lose its way very easily.
The safety features include a single channel ABS, which is a segment first, hill hold, and the TVS Smart Shield system.
There's no denying that the TVSX comes at a hefty price tag, but it also covers new ground in terms of performance, handling, connectivity, etc. At the same time, it builds on that proven TVS reliability of its new electric powertrain, something that we've already sampled with the iQube and are quite happy about. So the experience of owning an even bigger and an even more powerful TVS electric should be a stress-free one.
That's it then from us on this week's edition of Overdrive. But remember, you can stay in touch with the team through our various social media platforms, and you can write to us on YouTube as well. Before we wrap up though, once again, let me wish you all a very happy Diwali. Just ride and drive safe.